Good afternoon, glitter goddesses. We have finished decorating the fronts of all the pages and adding the photo mats. So now what we're working on is these flaps. So I am going to I'm going to take a 8.5 inch by 1 inch strip of pattern paper, fold it down the middle and hook it over the top and bottom. And then we're going to stick a photo mat on the front and a photo mat on the back. So what I need to do is I need to tape 24 photo mats. I need to tape 24 photo mats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ah, I have exactly the right amount of photo mats left. So. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I hope everyone had a fun Halloween. Halloween was yesterday when I'm filming this. We have a little bit of candy left, but not very much, and I bought a ton of candy. Our candy supply filled all 3 levels of an IKEA Raskog cart. And all the neighborhood kids are very impressed with this cart. It's so funny, but, you know, the first year we did the cart, all the kids loved it. And so we've done the cart every year since. And what we do is we fill an IKEA Raskog cart, and one level has no nuts, one level has no chocolate or nuts, and one level has no chocolate. Yeah. One level has no chocolate and nuts, one level has no chocolate, and one level has no nuts. So that way kids who have allergies, they can choose, you know, or kids who just don't like chocolate or who just don't like nuts. And I think they enjoy choosing, you know, feeling like they have some control. And the cart looks really cool, all organized like that. Like it looks like, you know, it looks like a store almost. So the cart was a huge hit the first year we used it. So we've used it every year since then. I think 2013, maybe 2014 was when we introduced the cart, and they've been loving it ever since. And some of the kids yesterday were so polite. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this cart is so smart. You're so organized. I'm so impressed." And we were like, "Okay." So yeah, if you really want to impress the kids in your neighborhood for whatever reason, they love picking their candy out of Raskog carts. So last year we ran out of candy. This year we did not run out. But we got a lot lower than I thought we would. Like I thought we overbought by a decent amount candy, because we just got huge bags of candy from Costco, multiple huge bags of candy. But there's a lot of kids in my neighborhood. We live right next to a school. There's a lot of parties, and the kids come in groups. They come through in groups. So, which is nice. I like to see all the little kids on there coming through. So we had a flat tire on our car, and all our tires are they were kind of getting to the end of their life. 2 of them really should have been replaced already, and the other 2, you know, they don't need to be replaced immediately, but it's not going to hurt So we're getting all new tires, but of course, because our car has a strange size wheel, we had to order them. And have them delivered to the tire place. We have to do this every time. I've never ever gone anywhere where they had our size tire in stock. So now, you know, whenever we need tires, I always just say, you know, when I call to make the appointment, I say, I need to make an appointment. I need to order some tires, and I need to make an appointment to have them put on when they're delivered. And they're always like, well, tell us what kind of car you have, because we probably have them in stock. And I'm like, well, I will tell you, but you don't. And they're like, you'd be surprised. And I said, no, I'm not going to be surprised. And I've never been surprised. No one ever has them. And this has been like a perpetual annoyance with our car. And it's definitely something for if you wanted to do. So Gail said this, if you wanted to make this album more girly, what would you do? If I wanted to make it more girly, I would do a pink base, and I would probably do this bolder pink, just, you know. So I would do a pink base. Okay, we have a Toyota Matrix, but we have the XRS, which is the sport version, I guess, the high performance version of it. And only 3% of all the Toyota Matrixes that were made as that trim. So its resale value is pretty good because of that, which is, you know, nice to know for if we ever need to trade it in. But it has 18-inch like racing, low profile racing wheels or something like that. And then if you have this same paper, you know, I skipped some of the elements, like the ones that are more girly, like hearts, the hearts and the florals. You know, I didn't skip all the florals, but like the cards, I didn't choose ones that were very feminine. I would you could choose the ones that are, and you could you know, I guess you could try and add elements from other collections that were more girly. Like you could put some flowers on the cover, things like that. But you can also just leave it very similar to this. Maybe just do the pink base, and that's probably going to be enough. You wouldn't have to change it up too much even. Susan says, we live in a condo and our complex doesn't allow trick-or-treating. Oh, that's disappointing. That is. We lived in a complex once where they didn't allow free-range trick-or-treating. So what they did was in the community center, they had a Halloween costume party and costume contest for all the kids. And then once that little party was done, they took all the kids around in a group through the entire complex. So the adults who didn't have kids, you would come out, we all came out front when the group got to us, and you would hand out candy to like 200 kids at once. And then that would be it, you know, for the night. And that's when we lived in Miami. That's how our complex in Miami did it. And it was actually a lot of fun because it was like you had a little mini block party, you know. So yeah, I think probably to make it more girly, my biggest suggestion would be to use the cards that have the lacier elements, like the doily and what have you, And then also to, you know, put some flowers on the front and to use a pink base. Now, yes, see, Tam's Fiat has low profile tires and they're always a special order. Yeah. I mean, my biggest thing is in terms of like what I'm going to look out for the next time I get a car is, does this have a standard size tire? Because it's just one of those things that, you know, you're like, what, why do I have to deal with this? I know it's not a very big problem to have, you know, but Ellen, yes, it is safer for the kids. Yeah. Well, and our complex was big enough that you could just stay. It was a gated community. You know, so you could just stay in the gate, and there were enough houses in the gate, and they sent, you know, emails to all the residents about this, so we would all be prepared, you know, with what time to be outside if you wanted to participate, and, you know, how much candy you would need. And then the other thing was you didn't have the doorbell ringing all night, but you still got to see all the kids in their costumes, and the parents would also dress up, and the people handing out candy would dress up. You know, we dressed up as vampires one year, and actually we were too scary, and some kids wouldn't come near us, so their parents had to come over and get the candy from us. But then we also posed for a lot of selfies with parents that year. So that was a pretty fun year. All right, so, you know, this is the downside of assembly line crafting, is just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But, you know, it's also, like I said, you can zone out, you can watch TV, you can watch a movie, you can listen to music or an audiobook. And so, because you're doing the same thing over again, you don't have to be actively thinking, you know. So you can just, like, chill. You know, so watch the video until you know what you need to do, and then just zone out and just do it. Assembly line. My poor sister's car is making weird noises again. And it's been, in the last year, it's been in the shop twice for engine problems. And it's only a 2013. And my husband and I are just so appalled by the performance of this vehicle that, you know, we would never buy Volkswagen. We would never buy a Volkswagen. Just having observed, you know, because we bought our car in 2009. It has over 150,000 miles. Well, we bought it in 2008. It is a 2009. It has over 150,000 miles on it. It's totally fine. The only problem it's ever been in the shop for that, you know, wasn't just like tires and stuff, was we had a broken O2 sensor where the car always thought the gas cap was off. So we fixed that, and then the catalytic converter just died. Or not the catalytic converter, the alternator. The alternator just kicked a bucket, so we just bought a refurbished alternator and replaced that. But, you know, it happens. And when the alternator died, we had them replace the S-belt, the serpentine belt, since they have to take it off to do the alternator. We were like, since it's going to be off already, just put a new one on. And now because it's still on its original belt. And I was like, it's only a matter of time before that belt kicks the bucket. So might as well just replace it while you're in there. Alright, this is the last of the taping for the photo mats. So I'm going to cut them all apart and then we'll get to work on our paper. But, so one of the dealerships near us, I think the Hyundai dealer, was having a Halloween sale. So I told my sister she should go get a Hyundai. Since her Volkswagen is it's like a ticking time bomb. But you know, the Volkswagen's paid off and it's hard when you haven't had a car payment to take one on again. Like Mr. Lifeguard and I were talking about it and I said, ugh, I'm not looking forward to having to deal with all that again. We've driven a Nissan Rogue. I used to get invited to this event that GM put on because I owned a Cadillac. And I owned a Cadillac because when my grandmother died, she had a Cadillac in her garage. And this was back when I was in college. And my uncle said that, you know, if I would just deal with all the paperwork and everything, I could just have it because none of his kids needed a car and nobody wanted it. So I just took it, and, you know, once I had to take it to the GM, a Cadillac dealer, to have the air conditioning repaired because no one, like, local mechanic couldn't even figure it out because it was so complicated. So, because it was he said it was a climate control system, not an air conditioner, so that's a whole different beast. Oh my gosh, cars are ridiculously expensive. Just when I was pricing the cars at the Hyundai dealer, and they were offering, you know, 0% financing as part of their Halloween sale plus cash back. But even so, you know, if you didn't put a bunch down, even on, you know, like the sedans were still going to be over $300 a month on a 60-month thing, which is just nuts. So I was thinking we need to just put like $250 a month into a Vanguard for when our car dies, and then we can just pull the money out of it and just pay cash for the car. All right. So those are done. Since, you know, it's not going to last forever. All right. So now we are going to do the 1" by 8.5" strips. So I'm going to get, and I need, you know, I need so 7-year car loans. Ugh. When I bought my car, my first car, 30 month or 36-month loans were like still what the majority of people were doing. So I'm cutting these to 8.5, And then I'm going to cut 1-inch strips off them. Actually, you know what I should do? I'm going to cut them to 8.5. Then I'm going to score them. Then I'm going to cut them into strips. That way I don't have to score all them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have to score each little tiny piece of paper. If you get a 7-year car loan, you have to be, I know, you know, modern cars last a lot longer than older cars. Still, though, you have to be so careful that you get something reliable. 7 years is a long time to not be able to sell it if you need to sell it. So that'd be like an 84-month loan. Oof. All right, so we'll start with those. I mean, so sometimes you know, you got to do what you got to do, but I'm going to score these all at down the middle at 4 1/4. And then I'll cut them into 1-inch strips. We've only had one car since 2008. 2008 is when we stopped having 2 cars. And what we did is we sold both of our cars and we bought a new car. So Tam's pulling pink paper from her stash to make 3 of these before Christmas. That will be fun. You could totally do it. All right, so I'm going to try and get 4 sheets, 4 strips out of each one of these. So I'm going to cut them at 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I just got afraid that I hadn't saved paper for the front and back cover, but I think I have. Melanie, I think something has happened to Volkswagen and they're terrible now. For my sister's car to be so new and to be under 100,000 miles and to have been in the shop more than once for engine problems is insane. Well, that's how she feels. Like, she loves it when it works. You know, it's fun to drive, but it doesn't work that often. Hello, Priya. How are you? We're trying to finish this baby album if we can. Well, we finished an album yesterday, and I thought maybe I can finish another album. We can finish 2 albums in 1 week. I can be super productive, because part of my friend's gift that's going with this album is that $100 gift card because she wanted a new pair of fall shoes. And I can't be working on this, all fall, or else she won't get her new shoes. So... Well, Gretchen, since we both work from home, it's a little bit different, I think, for us. Because it's not like, one of us is trapped at the house or trapped at work or something like that. So... And when we first lived where we first had one car when we lived, there was a town trolley. So it was really easy to run errands all around town on the trolley. So, all right. So now we are going to start sticking these down. And I'm trying to think. I think I'm going to glue them. Is it easier to work from home? So it depends on you as a person and your level of discipline and the amount of social value you get from work. So if you have a lot of friends at work and you get a lot of social activity and you would feel isolated working from home, it might not be good. Or if you're not super motivated, then, if you're easily distracted or whatever, then that's also a problem. For me, I'm one of those people where I like to work in bursts. So I like to work really, really, really hard for 4 hours, say, and then that's it for the day. And, let's be real, in a lot of office environments, people are not even working 4 hours out of the day. So, Facebook is a huge part of what's going on during the day, right? I mean, I'm not saying all people in all office environments, but sometimes my hands hurt, and when they hurt, I wear gloves. So you'll see them, come and go. If I'm wearing them, it just means that my hands are bothering me. They do keep warm and they compress. So they're compression and warming. Okay, what the heck just happened to this? Like it... All right, so Gretchen says they both work from home, but she goes away quite for the weekend a few times a year. See, he would just have to be prepared. So like, you know, he would just have to make sure he had enough of everything he would want that weekend before I left. And then he would just be home all weekend. I wish some days you could just go to work in PJs. Yeah. So I had a job back when I worked you know, like when I first started, I was standing up a new program in a new area where nothing had been done ever, basically ever. And so I worked, I mean like 80-hour weeks easily. I was an exempt employee, so no overtime for moi. All right, so how cute is this? Look at that little strip of paper. It's just enough to bring more pattern into the page, but you know, so we're gonna, I don't know, we're just kind of talking about all kinds of stuff. We've been talking about cars, having one car, working from home versus not working from home. And so what ended up happening is over the course of the years that I worked in that office, I finished standing up the program and I finished hiring everyone who needed to be hired for the program to just run, and we weren't catching up, etc., etc. And so I was just, you know, out of stuff to do for the most part, and I only needed to do actual work for about 20 hours a week. And the rest of the time I would just, you know, stare at my computer pointlessly. And I could have just done that from home. You know, like I didn't need to sit there, except for someone needed to answer my phone, you know, and my company didn't forward to cell phones. But I could have done that job with so little work, so little actual hands-on time work. But I had to exist because I had to answer that phone, because I had to make final call level decisions. And so I call that planning and vision casting. Exactly, Ellen. Exactly. Exactly. I am planning and vision casting right now. I am working on a flow chart in my mind. Get out. So I could easily have done that from home if I just, you know, they had figured out a way to forward calls to my cell phone, so that when someone was like, would it violate the child protection policy if we did X, Y, and Z? And I would say yes, it would. And then that would be that, and a decision would be made, and then you would just log. If anyone ever called with that question again, you know, Kathryn made a policy that is a violation. So You know, so I think companies are doing it wrong with regards to, you know, how they do it. Like people, if you let people have control over some of this stuff, like companies disrespect people so much. They think that people would just always choose the wrong thing. Some people will choose the wrong thing, you know, but there are some people who will pop right out of bed, work like mad for 4 hours to get everything done they need to get done so that they can, you know, chill out for the rest of the day and watch like scrapbooking videos. Whereas if you make them go to work pointlessly for 8 hours, they're still going to do the same thing, right? Just from work. I read about this company, and what they did was they took the internet off everyone's computers. They took all the phones out of their offices except for there was one receptionist with a phone. And then they put a wireless signal jammer in the office so that people's cell phones and tablets wouldn't be able to access the internet. And they told them that in exchange for this, they would change the workday to 6 hours. So they wouldn't have to be there 8 hours. They would only have to be there 6 hours. And productivity went up 50%. So what does that tell you about how much work people were actually doing? And not only that, but the people who participated in this program, they said they liked it better because they just worked and it wasn't as boring. So it's like companies need to get creative with stuff like this. Drives me, whatever. It's just people the 40-hour work week was invented a century ago for people who made cars on a factory assembly line. You know, it's just why they think, you know, that's the answer. Like that we should never question, should we still be, no one's ever said, you know, why are we working 40 hours a week? Like what's the specific reason that the people at this company work 40 hours a week if that company is not Ford and it's not 1915? Say, I've heard that Samsung's one of the most paranoid companies like on earth, which I get it, you know, I get it. There's a lot of theft. Yeah, some of Europe gets it. You know, yeah, you need to figure out what tasks you want your employees to complete in a day and tell them that when those tasks are completed, they can leave. And you have some employees, it's going to take them 10 hours to get that done because they're spending so much time screwing around on the computer. And that's fine, you know. And then there's some employees who are going to work really hard for 4 hours and not go online and not take any breaks and not check email. And then they're going to go home. And what do you care as the employer if they sat and surfed at Facebook, you know? And of course, I know there are people who have to work hard for 8 hours at their jobs as well. I'm not talking about those companies like, you know, retail companies would be an example of companies that, you know, the employees have to be there for it to work, right? Like there's some industries where this makes sense, but there's a lot of industries where it doesn't. Yeah, healthcare's got to be staffed 24/7. I get it, you know. And I'm not making any judgments about anyone who's watching from work right now. If you're watching from work, I don't care. I don't care. I'm not your boss. And I'm sure that you're productive while you're watching. Like I know there are people who are approving mortgages while they watch me. So I know you can be productive while watching me, especially if your job is partially automated. I also think companies don't take into account the fact that different people are productive at different times of the day as well. So there are people who are better in the morning, and there are people who are better in the afternoon. Like, there are people whose peak productivity is from like 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Why should those people be getting into work at 8 and, you know, not being productive for the first 6 hours of their shift? Why don't you let them work from 2 to 10 if they need to be there for 8 hours? Or maybe they can get so much done from 2 to 6 that it's better than if they were there all day. You know, companies just, I don't know. There's so much lack of creativity and so much, well, this is just how we've always done it, you know, in so many institutions. So whatever. I can't solve all the world's problems. I've tried to get them to elect me Empress of Everything, you know, just declare me Empress of Everything, but it hasn't happened yet, friends. Oh, this book is so cute. It's so cute. I think people are often asked to work more than 40 hours a week now. Hello, Renuma. Hopefully that's it. Welcome. I am trying to finish my friend's baby album. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the projects. Welcome to the Glitter Gang. Well, just as an example of how pointless meetings were, when I used to go to meetings, I did not pay attention to them at all, because often I went to a lot of stupid meetings where all senior staff was required to be there, just in case someone had to ask a policy question that related to their department, and then the like relevant senior staff person had to be there to answer that question. And so I would just zone out while I was in meetings, because my department was very external to the organization I worked in. So, like, you know, just this vast amount of the work I did had nothing to do with the interior running of the company, it was a nonprofit organization, so the organization that I worked for. And so I didn't pay attention to meetings at all. And so I would just like zone out, plan like meal plan, or, you know, think about a TV show I watched or something I wanted to do when I got off work. And I would not even listen to what was going on. And then when people would ask me a question where it was clear to me that the question I'd just been asked, I had to make a decision about it, I would always say no. And then if they were like, why? But have you considered, you know, whatever, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe explain it to me again, and I'll have a different answer. And then they would re-explain it, and I would listen, and I would say, you know, you're right. Yes. But I always said no, because I didn't want to commit to anything. You know? Sometimes they'd re-explain it, and I'd say, still no. So, still no. As far as I know, no one ever caught on. So, Scrapbooking is very, very addictive. I think it's just so nice to make things with your hands, you know? It's just so nice to be creative, and then for the creativity to have a double purpose of memory keeping is so great. That's why I like it. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. All right, so we're working through this. We're working, but look how cute these layouts are. Like, look how layered and fun, and like there's so much to explore. Like, they're really, you know, it's really like they're calling for you, you know. It depends on the project. So, like this one, you don't need to purchase anything. There's a playlist on YouTube, on my YouTube channel called Baby's First Year, and I gave all the measurements. If you just take notes, then you'll have everything you need. And also in my archives, of all my live shows that I've done since 2009, there's over 1,500 videos in there. A lot of those projects are also, I gave the measurements because I've been doing this since 2009, and I wrote my first tutorial, I believe, in 2012 or 2013. So there were several years before I even wrote my first tutorial. And then I don't write tutorials for all my projects. So any project I don't have a tutorial for, I give the measurements. So what that means is, if the project has a tutorial, you need to buy the tutorial to get the measurements, because I won't speak them out loud. I go through the process of assembly, and I tell you which piece to stick to what. But if it doesn't have a tutorial, then somewhere I have given the measurements for it. And I would say that's the majority of my projects. I have given the measurements. There's plenty on my YouTube channel, as well as, you know, like I have this series. I have the December Daily series I just finished. That also has a playlist if you click playlists. And again, the December Daily album, you don't have to use it as a December Daily album if you don't celebrate Christmas or any sort of winter holiday. Then you can. So yeah, the answer is yes and no, I guess. But yeah, you can do a lot without purchasing, and that can help you, you know, get used to my style and understand what you like, and then you can purchase things that are interesting you want to follow along with. The archives are really valuable because there are so many projects in there that do have measurements given without the tutorials. And we're running a contest right now where you can win a Rotatrim trimmer or $200 gift card. And that is linked in this video's description. If you want to join our Facebook group and share your projects, there's a way that you can win. And you can try the archives for $5 a month. So you could just sign up for the monthly and cancel whenever. You know, if you need to see if it's for you, only costs $5. So there's a lot of different ways to watch. But I'm also here Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. And then we do these shows as well during the day. sometimes just, you know, when it works with my schedule, when I feel like it. Ah, I am so excited with how this album is turning out. So happy with it. And it's not a hard album by any means. And don't get stuck in the mindset that because I'm doing it as a baby album, it has to be a baby album. It does not. Of course, it works wonderfully for a baby album, but it can be anything. Earlier, we've talked about it could be, you could do one pocket for every Halloween costume, like for 1 year of Halloween costumes of you and your friends or your kids. You could do 1 page for each year of the school year and make it a graduation album. You could make it a trip or travel album record and do 1 page for each day of your trip. And there's all sorts of things that you can do with this one. So it doesn't have to be baby. Just like December Daily doesn't have to be December Daily. It could just be anything you think you'd like that format for. You can totally change up a project just by changing the paper. And it's a lot of fun. I'm using the glue on these flaps just because I'm thinking maybe it's faster. I'm not sure if it is faster, but it feels faster than taping, but I'm not sure if it is. I wonder if it's in my mind. I wonder if it's in my mind. So this is the baby's first year album. It's an easy 6x8 album. It only needs, I think, 12 sheets of cardstock for the base to make this 12-month, 12-page book. I think so too. Priya says the album colors are very calming, and I think it's because they're not very saturated. They're not primary, so there's a softer, relaxing sort of vibe to them, you know. All right. See. All right, so I'm using brushed corduroy. Brushed corduroy is a very soft brown. I like it a lot. Of the Distress inks is kind of my go-to for any paper collection that's just soft, you know. This paper collection has a lot of gray in it, so I could have used pumice stone instead. Halloween was really nice. We had a ton of kids. And like previous years' kids, they loved the Halloween candy selection in the Rascog cart. So that's something that's gone over. It's been very popular every year since we started doing it, where we have, you know, one layer of the cart is, you know, has chocolate but no nuts. One layer of the cart has no chocolate and no nuts. And one layer of the cart has chocolate and nuts. So that whatever they want, they can choose. And I think they really like having that agency because they're always so excited when we roll out the cart, you know. So, and I think also, you know, the cart's a pretty blue color. It's really, you know, the presentation of it is nice, but it just, I think, makes it special. So they really enjoy it. And we got a lot of compliments on our cart, and we saw some really cute costumes, including a little tiny Freddy Krueger, who was adorable. The cart is, the Rascog cart is, have you ever seen, it's really popular in craft room tours. It's a blue cart, it's a blue metal cart from IKEA. It has 3 shelves, 3 mesh basket shelves, 3 metal baskets. And we fill each layer with candy, and we had tons of candy. Like, I think we had 10 pounds of candy this year. And we do have some left over this year, but it's not as much as I thought we would. I wanted to overbuy because last year we ran out of candy. This year we did not, but we came close. So I think 10 pounds is what we're going to have to do every year. At least, well, I was going to say at least while we live here, which this is our last year here, so never mind. I guess we'll find out next year if we need 10 pounds of candy or not. My sister was impressed that this year we got all good candy. Like we didn't get any. Last year I had Dum-Dums. All right. I'm just going to make sure that I have, you know, the right papers left. All right. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to run into a problem where I don't have paper strips that will look good on the page that's I'm working on. So just a little bit of planning. Because I want to get to the end and have everything look good. So, yeah, so that's what we're up to. We're doing page 8 now, so we're getting into the home stretch. This is the last thing, and then we just have to put on the front and back cover. Oh no, Kimberly. All right, so again, if you're looking for something that doesn't take too much time for the Glitter Party 2019 challenge to win a Rotatrim or $200, then this album is a good choice. So make sure you check the video description for information on that. That runs through November 24th. So, and I'm going to announce the winner on Black Friday. So, in my Black Friday stream. I got to think of something to do for my Black Friday stream. What will I do? What will I make? We will do some kind of Black Friday sale. We'll probably do a sale on digital stuff. But our big sale, our biggest sale is always Scrappy Bowl. Usually there's a certain percentage off of everything on Scrappy Bowl. I think for Black Friday, and my Black Friday sale will be fairly short, maybe a week or 2 weeks. And they'll probably start on Black Friday. So, you know, it's coming up. It's coming up. I do love it when the kids are excited that you're giving them the good candy too. Yes. It's, you know, I think what's so funny about the cart is it's just, you know, Halloween is good as it is when you're a kid, but it's just an added, like, I think it's the added control. You know, they get to choose what they want, and they're very careful about picking, and they always want to, and a lot of times they ask how many pieces they may take from the shelf, you know, because they want to just, like, they want to respect the cart, you know. They want to respect the cart. It's really cute. Well, Priya, I think there's just been a lot of increases in those trunk things where kids go to the parking lot and have a little Halloween party and stuff. It seems like there's been, you know, more and more events where they keep the kids all together instead of having them walk around neighborhoods. It is kind of a bummer. If you like seeing all the little kids, yeah. They did the trunk or treats. Yeah, the favorite way it's ever been done of all the places we've lived, I think, is the way it was done when we lived in Doral, which is in Miami. Where they had the kids do the party. So the kids got to go to the party and have their costume contest, and then they did, you know, the parade through the neighborhood. So we got to see all the kids, but you didn't have to get up and down all night. All right, this is another one that I somehow messed up. All right. Dun, 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 dun. After this one, we only have 2 more pages. So exciting. And then we'll do a flip through, and I think that'll be it for the day, probably. I don't think I'm going to... Oh, I have 3 more pages because I have to do this one on the back. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Your neighbor has Christmas lights already? Oh, no. Oh, no. Let me do this last one so I don't forget it. So I have a bad feeling I'm going to forget it. Now, our street is pretty big on decorating for Christmas. Decorating for Christmas outside is a pretty big thing in Florida, I've noticed. I think it's because it's not cold. So that's how you get in the spirit. But I don't really decorate for Christmas until after Thanksgiving. I like to take my holidays one at a time. One at a time. I don't need to rush. I don't need to rush the holiday season. You know, we can decorate for Halloween, enjoy Halloween, then we can swap that out for fall decor. And then swap that out for Christmas. Yeah, gotta give the turkey a chance at least. That's right. I wish I had, well, I gotta do my nails this weekend. Think of some kind of fall decor for my hands. And then we'll see about starting that Christmas box. I don't think it will take too much time to make it, although, like I said, it's not like I know how the person made it. I'm just like, it's just me looking at the thing and saying, okay, well, if I was doing it, this is how I would do it. The Christmas box, I saw a cute little Christmas card stadium or something. So on Simple Stories, they put it on their Facebook page. And then a lot of people asked if they could point, if they, being simple stories, could point them towards a tutorial, and they said that no, you just have to enjoy it on their blog because the person who made it doesn't do tutorials. So I was like, well, it's kind of cute. Maybe I will figure out how to do it. So that's what I'm thinking about doing next, because I think it could be used to display Christmas cards nicely. But it could also be used as a December daily album, or an advent calendar album, or a Christmas countdown album. Or, of course, you could just do something else with it. You know? So, but before I do that, I'll find out exactly, like, you know, I'll be sure to link to it in the video description, so you can see the original, and the original artist can get credit. Can we change the size? Well, I was thinking of doing it to hold my, you know how I make that folder that has the 4x6 photos inside of it? That's like 6.5 by 8 7/8. I was thinking about making it to hold those specifically. So I don't know what size hers is, but that was what I had in my mind. Well, it's really cute. Wait till you see it before you say that. It's really cute. So yeah, I was thinking about making it, you know, just, I don't know what size the original is, like I said. But if I make it big enough to hold that folder, it'll definitely be big enough to hold even larger cards, I think. Yeah, I'll share a link, or I'll show you the picture. If you're submitting for the baby album, you can change the size, yes. If you, because I do encourage you to resize my projects as needed, you know, I do encourage that. So you absolutely can submit for the contest one of my projects that's been resized. Yep. We're almost done. Almost done, almost done, almost done. Mom's doing fine. Intern Liz is back. She's back at work. She's now the office manager. So she got a promotion and a raise, so that's exciting. Should we stop? Well, she didn't get a promotion here. Actually, her title at Kathryn Scraps officially is Vice President of Communications and New Media. So we just call her Intern Liz because we're jerks. But yeah, Vice President of Communications and New Media is what's on her resume. So but she does not get paid VP bucks. And that's because she doesn't really actively work for us anymore. You know, she helps me out here and there if I need it, but for the most part, she's not involved in the day-to-day anymore. Just because she's got such a long commute now, she doesn't have a lot of extra time. And so, and I've just been doing a lot more lately. It's always hard to judge like when you need to hire someone, you know what I mean? But part of my problem is I like to do everything myself because I'm persnickety control freak. You may have noticed that about me. I don't know if you have. So, if that's been obvious at all. But, okay. It's done. The pages are done. So you've got your photo here, your pocket here, which you can put photo mats, whatever. The place to record the baby's stats. Then flip it over and we've got this layout, place for journaling to take some notes. And then the next page, you know, and so on. Look how cute. Just look how cute this book is. So this is Baby's First Year, an Easy 6x8 album. It's a riff on another Easy 6x8 album I've done a few times with a coil binding. This time I've just incorporated it, well, I've changed the design a bit and incorporated it into an infinity binding. Inspired by Fran to do that. From her entry to Glitter Party 2019. So yay, Fran. I mean, what a happy little book. What a happy little book. Now let's do twice the fun. No. We just did half the fun twice. That's basically twice the fun. So I've already done twice the fun this year. All right, so that's it. That's all the pages. So the only thing left to do is to make the chipboard covers and put the spine on it. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do that. So we'll have 2 more videos in this series. The next one will be adding the chipboard covers, and then the one after that will be final review. So thanks so much for watching, and in the next video you'll see how to put the cover on the book.